We're live. Hey everybody, thanks so much for your patience. We're having some technical difficulties, but we endured. Happy Friday, happy Good Friday for those. And we have our special guest, Emily, joining us today. She's a professional pastry chef, and she's enough to let us into her home, and we're going to be baking chocolate muffins today.
Yeah.
So Emily, for those who don't know you, can you tell them a little bit about a bio of who you are?
So I know because I turned it down. So I'm a mom of 3 boys, pastry chef for, I don't know, a few years now, quite a few, but working from home now and just enjoying the time with my kids. I've got my oldest one is asleep, so we have the 2 younger ones.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And like we've talked in the past, it's not very common for you to have your kids in your kitchen.
No. Having my kids in the kitchen is like super stressful to me, so I try to do it when they're asleep or they're not here.
Yeah. At the same time, you're so brave where you're letting your kids come in and also letting us be able to have our kids join us in the kitchen.
Yeah. It's a growing process for sure. So it's fun.
Even before we start, for those joining us on whether it be on Zoom or Facebook Live, thank you so much for joining us. If you have any questions, jump into Zoom, and maybe Emily will be able to answer some of those questions and put your screen on, or if there's questions on Facebook Live, I'll be monitoring and just pose the questions to her. Before we even get into it, are there any ground rules that you normally put in place for your kids before you start baking?
Yeah, I make sure that their hands are washed and that everything's sanitary and clean and for as much as I can. And then I have them wait and make sure that they don't touch anything hot. And they know when the oven's on, they know it's hot, they know it's sharp. So here, scooch and say hello. The other one just woke up. Come here.
Hi. Oh.
Say hi. So, yeah.
Awesome.
So those are just kind of my things, is telling them what's going on so that they don't hurt themselves.
For sure. What are your kids' names again?
This one, let's see, scooch up a little bit, buddy. My older one is Liam, Oliver, and Charles.
Liam, Oscar,
Oliver.
Sorry, and Charles.
Yes.
Awesome, beautiful names.
Thank you.
Yeah, and then going back to the whole the rules and putting that in place. Do you, not only the day of, but even beforehand, make them aware of, like, this is a knife, this is the stove, or is it primarily just the day of you're able to walk through that?
They've known. I mean, don't spit. They've known. I mean, since they're old enough to know. I know, but that can put spit out. We've shown them what's sharp. We've shown them. This one especially likes to find all the sharp things, and he'll hold the knife like pointed at us and be like, "It's sharp," and we're like, "Yeah, bud, it's sharp." Like, let's put it down.
Well, at least he's listening, you know? That's a good thing.
So we definitely tell them ahead of time, and we've always told them, you know, things are hot or sharp, and sometimes I let them learn on their own because they don't listen, and I go, "Okay, well, you know what? You'll have to just learn for yourself."
Right. I'm sure we're going to be able to get into more of your background, how you got into baking, but let's feel free. You can take the lead on making chocolate muffins.
All right.
With three kids in tow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
With 3 kids, it'll be good. Okay, let's not put our hands completely in it, guys. We didn't need to do that today. Today, we're not going to make too big a mess. So, Oliver, can you I have my flour in here. I'm going to put the cocoa powder in there. And typically, you'd want to sift anything with cocoa powder. I like to quick sift, meaning whisk it, because sifting just doesn't always happen. So we'll whisk that up, get the clumps out, and then we'll go ahead and add, here, you want to add the brown sugar, and Oliver will add the regular sugar. Good job, guys. Yeah.
That was.
Oh, let's not put our fingers in it, buddy. Come on. All right. When you have kids that love like sensory stuff, like my middle one here, he will want to touch everything, and being okay with that is something I have to grow in, but that's all right.
Yep. So in regards, was there a specific not method, but then an order of what ingredients you put in?
No, the only thing that I made sure to do first was my cocoa powder and the flour to make sure that the clumps in the cocoa powder are good, but otherwise not so much. And then I just go ahead and put in the rest of the dry ingredients. So if you guys want to put in, hold on. So we're gonna put in our spices now, okay? So do you want to put in the salt?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead and put the salt in. You want to put the nutmeg in? Okay, let's not touch it though. And then here, buddy, you want to put the cinnamon in? Put the cinnamon in. And then you want to put the baking soda in? Yeah. All right, good job. Yeah.
On top.
All right, let's not put our fingers in it. We don't need to put our fingers in it today, okay? You want to whisk it though? So yeah, so no real order, just the dry ingredients all in at once. Huh.
What?
Pretty easy recipe.
Nice.
And sometimes I forget how easy, and then I'm like, oh, I should make these more often.
It was very kind of you. We were talking this week, and you were saying like, what should we do? And you were showing us how thick your book of products that you can make or pastries that you can go through. It's very kind of you to be able to share that with us in that regard.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's fun. It's hard for me to decide what to show you guys because there's a lot of options.
Yeah. How long does it take to prep? Because I know it looked like in regards to the spices and those different items, you were just able to measure that and put it in different containers.
Yeah, usually I put everything in at once. I don't normally put it in the little cups, but to show everybody, I usually put it all in a bowl at once, so maybe 10 minutes.
Got it.
Okay, hold on. Let's give everybody a turn, okay? All right, that has been well mixed, guys. So we are gonna go ahead and, okay. Oh, lovely. All right, let's be done mixing that. All right. So then in another bowl, we're going to take our wet ingredients. So I have some melted butter here already. We'll go ahead and put the eggs in. No, because Mommy only has one hand right now. If I had more than one hand and I could use the craft that you do, then fine.
Wow, we should probably slow-mo that. You were able to crack it with one hand. I mean, you normally do that, but.
Yeah.
Yeah, normally I let my kids crack the eggs, but since I don't have more than one hand, it's a little hard to do it there, wherever they end up cracking the egg at.
Right, and maybe some of the shell.
Yeah, right? Speaking of, there is a little tiny shell in there, but that's all right.
It's all
Almost
good.
had it.
Yep.
Oh, you're welcome.
Good job, Oliver.
We're just making a mess. Huh. Okay, so then we're going to put our buttermilk in here with the eggs and the melted butter. Huh. Oh, you're fine, Charles. And we're going to whisk it together, whisk the wet ingredients together. Yeah, so get your hand out, Lexi. Oh, goodness. So he's made a pretty good well in the middle of that there.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
That's good. So you want to make a well in the middle of it to pour in.
Oh, I see.
To pour the wet ingredients in.
Ooh.
Yeah, and actually I have buttermilk this time, so yeah, real buttermilk in there instead of our mock buttermilk. You know, stir it. Just be careful.
Like lava.
Looks like lava. We're really in a lava today, huh?
It looks like lava.
So you can whisk it. You can also take a spatula to it, which I'll probably do here in a second. Make a mess.
You got some on my.
I know. I'll clean it all up. So.
I like that dirty.
Whoops, sorry.
It's all good.
Sorry, buddy.
Hey, you building chocolate?
How old's Liam, Oscar, and Charles again?
Liam, Oliver,
Sorry,
and Charles.
I keep saying Oscar.
So,
Sorry.
okay.
Oliver.
So Liam, how old are you? 4. And Oliver, how old are you?
Oh, 3.
Almost 3. He'll be 3 next month, so close enough.
Oh, cool.
You too, Oliver.
And then this one is 4 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now what to do it?
You're a trooper, Mama. You're a trooper.
Thanks. So before that's all mixed together, I'm gonna pour in. I mixed up some dried apricots and chocolate chips.
Cool. Where do you normally source those?
I love chocolate.
Sorry?
Where do you normally get those from? Any grocery store, or is there a particular store?
Yeah, any grocery store. So I get the dried apricots in like the dried fruit section, and then I just cut it up with scissors. It's easier than a knife.
Nice.
You got chocolate?
Yeah, I do. So Oliver, can I mix it all up? Because we gotta mix it all in. There's still some flour in there.
Hey Mom, I love it. I love to eat. You.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm blocking you. I'm trying to hold the bowl too. Do you think you can hold the bowl in place?
Good job, Liam, holding the bowl.
Yeah.
I'm sure Oliver's like, he's gonna get to it at one point.
Yeah. Oh goodness. I know, I'm surprised there haven't been. All right, or he's gonna it's gonna take off. That's fine.
Yep.
But you, mister, don't drool in it.
He's like, ooh, that looks yummy.
Yeah.
So
You want to talk something?
Emily, in regards to your sorry, Liam was gonna say something.
We were making cinnamon rolls.
I know, we told them about the cinnamon rolls last time.
Liam, you like to make cinnamon rolls?
All right.
So Emily, in regards to your
egg for Grandma.
Yeah,
And they
cracked
got-
egg.
Yeah, and then it went over my
Oh,
head.
you want baby girl.
It go,
It's okay though, it didn't go in anything.
but that was funny.
Was it so funny?
Yeah.
Mm.
so funny.
Yeah,
So
but
Emily, I know you as a child, maybe not to this same extent, but you were starting baking with your parents or with your mom at a young age too.
Yeah, absolutely. So around 4 or 5, I started
Hey,
with my mom
me and Oliver?
baking cinnamon rolls and doing whatever else, you know.
Yeah.
But,
I'm
yeah.
not all done.
You're all done? Okay. Well, I think the mix is all done too.
How do you know
let's-
when the mix is done?
when there's no more like flour clumps in there? Like I can see the chocolate chips, but not so much the clumps of flour. Cocoa powder.
Butter.
So it looks
I love
pretty smooth. Huh.
Can I do it too?
Yeah, you can. You can add more spices or change out the fruits or the chocolates, but I typically like to do apricots or chocolate chips or even dried cherries is another good one. Makes them pretty good, huh? Here, watch out.
So you can just experiment basically. Make it one time, maybe add different ingredients next time. See what you like.
Exactly. Yeah, you can do it too.
And you were talking about how when you were at Blackberry Farm in Tennessee that you were having to experiment and create up these different recipes all the time.
Yeah. So all the time if we made it,
stir it around.
we do. So we would make one recipe and it could not be given to a guest until it was perfect, basically. So it was redone I don't know how many times.
But then is it pretty objective or is it subjective on what perfect is?
No, you can't crack it.
It depends on the chef that's testing it. So
that will make it
the chef that hold on. The chef that tasted a lot of the desserts that I made was a military chef, and so everything was crisp and clean and had to be just right. And so and when you have chefs who've been smokers, their taste buds aren't quite as fine either, so they'll be like, more salt, and you're like, does it really need more salt?
That's fascinating. That's super fascinating. How because that definitely impacts the way the menu, certain dishes are sent out for the rest of the consumers in that regard.
For sure. Stop. We're not gonna fight. Look, both of you, can we let go? Let go. All right. Hopefully this one will let me put them down for a second. Okay. Alrighty. Don't cry. Okay. Let's put him in the thing. So I normally have a scooper, but I have lost my little scoops, which is fine. So we'll use 2 spoons. This spoon was actually given to me by an old supervisor. He found it at a thrift store and it has my initials on it. So he was like, "Is that for you?" You want to do it too? How about mommy does this part, okay? Because look, we're gonna scoop it into there.
Okay.
For those who want to be precise, how far or how much should you be scooping?
So you probably want it to be like 2/3 of the way to 3/4 of the way full.
Okay.
Yeah. I know you're gonna help me, and I think that's fantastic, but I'm worried you're gonna make a big, big mess. Is that okay? See, because you gotta get it right in there.
I want to go right in there.
All right. How about you help me with this here? Can you scrape it off? Let's figure this out. That's the other thing, is figuring out what they can and can't do.
Yeah.
Without.
It's almost like a trial and error in some sense, right?
Yeah. I know, but you know what? Scooping it out is a little bit challenging. Because you gotta get it just right, and without upsetting like my sensitive one that just walked away. That's okay.
Brother, just get out.
Yeah, brother just walked away. You want to use the stool? You can see it more.
Oliver is going to be he's going to make sure that it's up to the right level, right, Oliver?
Oh yeah, you're gonna make sure that they're all the right level. Oh my goodness. Charles is gonna make sure the sound's working, huh? Okay, let's not play with that. Well, you can actually go ahead and play with that. Just kidding. Just don't put it in the bowl. Oliver, what do you like to? What's your favorite flavor?
Huh?
What's your favorite flavor of food? Macaroni and cheese. But you like vanilla, huh? I know I made a little tiny mess. Do you like things with vanilla? Do you like things with vanilla?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think vanilla is like your favorite flavor. Whoops, Mommy made a big mess there.
It's okay.
You made a mess right there.
So when we go to Starbucks, what do you order, Oliver? Do you order vanilla? So it can't be just milk. It has to be vanilla milk. So apparently I've got, kids with somewhat of a palate.
Look at me. I'm not falling down.
You're not falling down. Good. Let's get down from the top of the steps. All right. So those are all pretty full. I didn't realize it was going to make this many because I haven't made these ones in a while. Let's wipe this up. If you make a mess on the muffin pans like I did, it's probably a little bit better to clean it up so you don't have burnt muffin stuff on there, huh?
You made
Smart.
a mess in
Did make a mess. That's okay. Oh, you're just adding some. Oh, I was gonna put this stuff on it. So I have some
What did it?
thicker sugar that will add like a bit of a crunch, a little bit more of a thicker crystal on it. So we'll you want to sprinkle some sugar on the top?
So you do that after you put it into the pantry, or put it into the little squares.
Yeah, it'll give it a nice like crispy little crunchy top. Sometimes I'll do like an oat streusel instead, but that's another step. Okay, oh, we don't need that much sugar on there. So this sugar's not quite as thick as I was hoping it'd be, but that's
You
okay.
make a mess on here.
Well, you added a lot of sugar to that one. That'll be
How am I
quite,
gonna do it?
no more. All right,
I can't see.
we're all done. All right, so we're gonna throw those in the oven, and it's at
So
350.
350, and you preheat it for how long?
Well,
Mine tells me when it's preheated, but otherwise maybe like 20 minutes.
say
Yours
yes.
doesn't.
Okay.
And I set my timer for about 12 minutes. I know we're gonna make. I didn't realize I was gonna make so much more, so we'll go ahead and. Oh no. Okay, we're gonna be done with this sugar for now. Okay.
So you were saying you put it in the oven for 12 minutes,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
for
you
right
have-
now,
and you have a traditional oven, right? It's not like one of those super pro.
No, yeah.
Convection.
So it was funny. I've been having issues with the convection part, which is the fan. It keeps the temperature regulated, but for whatever reason, this one's not working correctly, and it will drop the temperature drastically more than a typical convection oven would. So I've been playing with that. So I just switched back to just to regular, no
Standard traditional one.
convection.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's been doing better. Huh?
And for those joining us on Facebook or Zoom, thanks so much. We have Emily here. She's a professional pastry chef. She's nice enough to have us come into her house with her son Oliver there, and Liam and Charles as well, helping us make chocolate muffins. So Emily, in regards to, before we get into that, I forgot. If you have any questions for Emily as you're going through this, feel free to message us. I'll be looking at the chat box, and then I can ask Emily as well. But Emily, I'm sure you've had countless times of like burning yourself, basically.
Of burning myself?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Any good remedies or
yes.
any good immediate process to alleviate that?
Yeah, toothpaste with baking soda in it is so, or you can just make a baking soda paste, will stop your skin from cooking. Because that's basically what it's doing. When you burn yourself, you're cooking your skin. And so when there's like an old wives' tale that putting butter on it will help, or milk, but that's probably the worst thing you could do for yourself. Because the fat from the milk or the butter will continue to cook your skin.
Oof.
So while it might feel relieving, you're continuing to cook your skin.
Yikes.
Yeah. So, baking soda is kind of like magic because you can use it on a lot of injuries or bites or stings or whatever, and it takes the burn away and it helps you heal better. So I do like a baking soda and water paste, or I use like Arm & Hammer toothpaste. I used to carry around a little tube of Arm & Hammer toothpaste and lather it on the cut or the burns and move on.
Smart.
Yeah, it's not too bad. You get used to it though. I worked with a girl whose goal was to be able to grab things out of the oven without gloves. That was just her goal in life.
Oh my gosh.
But that was her goal.
So basically hands are just all calloused.
Yeah. Some people, that's their goal, and that's whatever. Not my goal. Oh my goodness, are you trying to clean up my mess? Oh, thank you. But yeah, so burns happen, and when you've been in the kitchen long enough, they start to not really bother you.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. You want me to clean that up? Oh, thank you. We're making a big mess on the floor, huh? That's okay. All right.
I just gave it to you.
You just gave it to me? That's so great. Thank you.
It's still on here.
That's okay. We'll finish cleaning it all up later, okay?
I gave one to your mom.
Yeah, you gave me some of the mess, huh?
So Emily, talk a little bit about how you got into, or like the process of becoming a pastry chef, going to school and that process.
Yeah, so I was looking at going into the psychology field, but that's way more expensive than I could afford. And we're not gonna worry about brother right now. And so when I was going through it, I was like, I really enjoy hands-on stuff, and I do better with hands-on things than reading a book or taking tests. So I looked into culinary school and decided that was more my pace, and I went to Le Cordon Bleu before it got shut down in the States. So I definitely missed it, but they had a 9-month program there where you have 6-week blocks of different subjects. So like the first 6 weeks was the basics of baking and the science behind baking, along with food safety and handling and all that. So you learn all about, how to store everything and how to keep everything at the right temperature and pull everything to the right temperature in the right amount of time, and just all those safety standards that keep you from getting foodborne illness and stuff. And then it gets a little bit more fun after that. But yeah, so that's how I started in culinary school.
For those who are thinking about it, a lot of high schoolers or a lot of people were thinking about the future, what they want to do. What would you encourage young people or even young adults who are thinking about wanting to go down that path of culinary school or being a professional pastry chef, how would you encourage them?
I would definitely say, from what I've learned here, a lot of people that I worked with that were great didn't even have any schooling. So I wouldn't necessarily say you must go to culinary school. Definitely is something that is beneficial and you can learn a ton. But if you don't have the funds to do it, community college will do just as well. But also asking chefs if you can shadow them or work with them is another way. Saying, hey, can I be like your apprentice? Or, you know, a lot of people, if they don't go to school, they start out as a dishwasher, and that's completely fine. But people are willing to teach and to show you everything. So
how realistic? We just recently watched it. I was really interested in watching it. How realistic is Ratatouille? If you watched it.
Sorry, let me grab the little one. I can't hear.
It's okay.
What?
Hey, Charles, sorry, buddy. How realistic is Ratatouille?
Sorry, one more time.
Movie, the Disney movie, Ratatouille.
Ratatouille? In what way? Clearly the
in regards to like the back of the restaurant, you know, you're talking about like starting off as a dishwasher and trying to move your way up. It seemed like from the movie it was really competitive. It seemed like it was pretty cutthroat in some sense, and at the same time, there was high expectations on delivering each and every day, each and every night, quality food.
Yeah, absolutely. It's pretty realistic on that aspect. It is really competitive, for sure. Especially on the savory side, there's a lot of competition. On the pastry side, there's competition, but it's a little slower paced. It's a little less. You have to be more patient, I think, because you can't rush the baking process, or you'll end up, you know, with the burnt product or something more dense than what it should be. But on the savory side, you can definitely, there's ways to make things faster. There's ways to do things quicker, and it is really competitive. So like in my last job, I was working with the chef, and I were cross training each other. So he was training me on the line and I was training him on pastry, which was a lot of fun. But there was definitely like hesitation from both of us, like, man, this is a lot different from the other side, you know?
Right.
So it was good experience for me and for him. So
you're saying it's very competitive. What are ways where you can get that edge, or what are ways where you can hone in on your craft to get better?
Taking extra classes, at least, like, there's not necessarily going to culinary school, but there are places that will teach you. There's people that will, like, there's a school in Vegas that I really want to go to probably next year. And they focus on chocolate. So they focus on today's trends of chocolates and chocolatier work, and incorporating it into different things. Liam, honey, you're gonna have to wait. Incorporating it into, like, there's, for a while there was a lot of, go ahead. There's a lot of people doing like gastronomy within baking and even within savory. So staying up with today's trends is really important, and following, especially social media, following chefs that are hitting today's trends and not staying stuck in the 90s or stuck in, you know, there's a lot of places that are still stuck in the 90s when we go out to eat, and I'm like, like, come on. So, and something that I learned too is learning how to do things in 3 different ways, using the same product, but in 3 different ways.
Interesting. Can you elaborate on that? 3 different ways. You would just think, okay, if I'm going to make bread, it's just going to be that way.
Right. So 3 different ways as far as, like, so yeah, breads could be one, or even like s'mores. That's like probably one of my favorite desserts. So learning how to do s'mores in 3 different presentations, basically. So Liam, I cannot help you right now. You're going to have to help yourself. So like there's a dessert that I did in Carmel that was s'mores inspired, but it was a graham crusted French toast you dipped it into a chocolate ganache and a marshmallow topping. So it was like a s'mores, but within French toast. Or you could do like, for like Pebble Beach Food and Wine, I did a s'mores mousse where you do like a chocolate mousse, and then the graham cracker crumble, and then a marshmallow on top. So that's a lot of fun. And then that was one that I came up with at Blackberry Farm, the s'mores mousse, and I cool smoked the sugar so you get an actual smoky flavor within the marshmallow, because you aren't able to have it at a campfire. But yeah, so being able to do things 3 different ways or 3 different styles.
Wow. Are there certain resources that you would recommend for people who are interested in culinary arts to look into?
Resources? Yeah, I mean, there's definitely
whether it be
a lot
books
of
or YouTubes or
Yeah.
podcasts, things like that.
Yeah, books are definitely a good one, especially if you're learning like breads and stuff. Breads are
Wait,
more
going
complex.
into that, because there's so many celebrity chefs, so many celebrity this, that, they're endorsing certain things and they're not really good cook. I don't know, whatever it is, right? Are there certain books you should totally avoid that you've come across or know about or your industry talks about?
I don't know of any that should be avoided, but what I try to do is find chefs, like if I'm trying to hone in on a specialty, they're not quite done. I try to find chefs that are specializing in those things. So like Adriano Zumbo, I don't know if you've seen Zumbo's Just Desserts. Like, he is a brilliant mastermind when it comes to incorporating different flavors together. Or macaroons are kind of this thing right now. Like, he's like the macaroon king or whatever of everywhere right now. Or people like Francois Paillard is the chocolate king of New York and has been for a long time. So finding different chefs that that specialize in different things. I'm gonna grab something real quick.
Sure. And thanks again for those who are joining us on Facebook Live or Zoom Live. We have a professional pastry chef, Emily. She's kind enough to bring us into her home and bake chocolate muffins. And we're just talking about her past and even encouraging those who are interested what they can do to be a pastry chef or a professional chef.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was able to take a class from Francois Paillard when I was at Blackberry Farm, and this is his chocolate epiphany book.
Wow. I sort of want to eat the screen right now.
I know, right? So he's really good with chocolate desserts. So finding and I follow him on Instagram, and he's been doing a lot of savory applications. But chefs that you'll see their passion in certain things, and so those are 2 major ones. I got the chance to work with oh gosh, why can't I think of her name? Janice Wong. She's the #1 pastry chef for I want to say Asia, but it's a little maybe for Asia, I forget. But let me grab her book. Sure.
And then those who are joining us live, feel free to message us on the chat. We're keeping eyes on that. So if you have any questions for Emily, whether it be for chocolate muffins or maybe you have an idea of what she can be making next time, you can drop an idea there too.
So this is her book. This is Janice Wong. She's really brilliant with yuzu or different citrus applications and white chocolate. We did an edible art museum when I was in Big Sur, and that was a lot of fun. And her and I's project was this massive canvas of white chocolate with almonds green olives stuffed with almonds. There we go.
Wow.
And so it was beautiful. I mean, she did an amazing job, but she's a very artistic person. And so if I wanted to do more of her kind of applications, I would follow her a little bit more.
Right. But you guys have pictures of that? Did you guys have pictures of that gallery?
Yeah, I'll have to pull them off of Facebook, but
for sure. And then did you guys eat the pieces afterwards?
Yeah, so we had people come in and view the gallery, and then we were able to try it afterwards, which was a lot of fun. William Goldfarb was another one who was there, and he did some pretty cool chocolate ones. Liam, honey, I'm sorry I can't help you right now. It'll be fine. But yeah.
It seems like you've been able to interact with a lot of other pastry chefs or other chefs in general. What were there certain things, certain attributes or traits of the ones that have been very popular or very successful that stood out to you that you've been able to do yourself, or just stood out to you as just being a very good chef?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, all of them that I have met and worked with, a lot of them are very dedicated to their work, and they're very dedicated to what they do, and they're zoned in. They're zoned in 100% to what they're doing. So for me, it was a good way for me to know like where my limits are as far as like my priorities. As
sure.
Everybody has their priorities, and the people that I've worked with, their priority has been their pastry career, which I think is fantastic. But my priority is a little bit different, which is totally fine. And that's why I'm probably not as going to be ever as successful as these celebrity chefs. And I'm okay with that,
Yeah.
But
success is defined. It can be defined in many ways.
Yeah, exactly. So one of the chefs that, a master chef that came and visited our school in culinary school, he was like, you can only successfully be married to one thing, whether it's your career or really married. And it's funny. I mean, it's been, unless you find, there are very few, but you can find some people can do both and they do it really well. But there's not many. So it would be a minority of chefs are actually, prioritized with their family and their career, and they do it beautifully. But to me, it was like, I can't sacrifice my family that way. So
was it hard for you to come to that conclusion?
To come to that conclusion, not, no. At first, no, it was like, I was fine with it. Because I knew that I needed to be there for my family. But as time went on, I realized that I hadn't really like grieved the whole, which sounds funny, but grieving the whole process of losing your career pretty much to just do family. And so I went through that process of like, okay, like we're switching it up right now, and that's totally okay. And so it was hard, I mean, for sure, but my family's more important to me than having a celebrity career per se.
For sure. No, that's very kind of you to be able to share something like that, or personal in that way.
Yeah, baby. Sorry.
All good. I had a question and then I slipped.
Okay, it's okay, honey.
So so that was the question. So I had a professional violin teacher. He's a private instructor. He was talking about within that industry, you're probably practicing their instrument, their craft, 5 hours a day, at least 5 hours a day. What's that time look like from a pastry chef in regards to practicing your craft, or what does that look like? And how often or how long does that take? Usually a day.
Usually, I mean, when I was doing it, it would be like 10 to 12 hour days. When I was in my career with it, at kitchen or at work, it was like 10 to 12 hour days, but you hardly even notice the time. But now it's probably more like a few hours here and there a day, but I know I'm not caught up to today's traditions and styles quite really. Sure. So that's where I want to go. There's a class, like I said, out in Vegas that I really that I want to go to. That's it's 8 days and it's from 8 to 5. So it would be really fun. To me.
Yeah. So you're saying, I mean, obviously you're trying different ingredients, you're learning about it, you're researching certain products and certain things. That's part of the training, right? That's part of the quote unquote practice.
Absolutely, yeah. And it's also deciding the moral compass too within some of your ingredients, because you can get something for cheaper. You can get something cheaper, but they're not treating the workers the way they should. So especially within chocolates, it's becoming more common to do fair trade, which is when they go in and they treat the farmers with more respect. They provide them with education. They provide their kids with bicycles or whatever. So that's something that, sure, I could get some cheap chocolate, but if they're not fair trade, then I'm not helping the people that are actually doing the work to get the chocolate to me. So places like Theo Chocolate, I absolutely love Theo Chocolate, and I will buy their chocolate any day. Or Republica de Cacao, or can't quite figure out how to pronounce it, but they are one that is really, they're really good at doing sustainable sourcing. I'm saying that right. And they treat their farmers with a lot of respect, which to me is super important. So it's going to cost me more, but at the end of the day, it's helping people that are actually doing their work, you know.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So with these, I don't really stick toothpicks in anything. I kind of doing it. So I do the spring test. If they spring back quickly, that means they're done.
Got it.
So yeah.
Got it.
Huh. So
And if they aren't springing back, how much longer would you put them back in the oven for?
Depends on so when I put them in for 12 minutes at first, and then at 5 minutes they still had kind of like a shimmery like rawness on the outside. So I was like, oh, 5 more minutes. And then after that they still weren't springing back, so I did 3 minutes. So it was about, what is that, like 20 minutes total?
Sure.
Yeah. So I just, if you're questioning it, I would do 2 minutes at a time.
Got it.
Yeah.
So how do these compare to, I don't know, say, I mean, if you think about, when I think about muffins, I'm probably going to Costco and getting those like 2-pack of 4s or whatever it is. How would this compare? How is this one better?
These are a lot more moist, I think. Costco ones are great for, you know, sharing or, you know, doing for big events and stuff, but these are more moist, and I think they taste better. Nice. But that was one thing too, when I noticed when I got my chocolate chips from Costco, their Kirkland brand is doing fair trade and sustainable sourcing. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Huh.
How would you pair your muffins? What would you
pair my muffins?
Drink wise?
Drink wise, let's see. So these ones would probably go pretty good with the Pinot if you wanted to pair it with a wine. Or if you wanted to, or even a Syrah, because you have a little bit of the spice in there. Otherwise, Mexican hot chocolate would be pretty good with it.
What kind of Mexican hot chocolate?
Like Abuelitas. I don't know if you've seen that at the store, the Mexican hot chocolate there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Or even, I'm a huge fan of horchata lately. Horchata would be good. Let's see, what else? Or even a good latte. But yeah, or a good tall glass of milk would be good too. But because they are chocolate.
Right.
Awesome. Yeah. Does that look good to you?
Yep. Yes. Yes. Get off the camera so I can start eating it.
Right? He's like, all I've had is bananas. You haven't given me chocolate.
Is there a good substitute for chocolate? I mean, if say your spouse doesn't like chocolate, I mean, obviously there's other ingredients, but
yeah, I mean, you could always do because this one has cocoa powder in it, so you could take out the cocoa powder and put in just like the same amount of flour into there. So you could do like, I do these apple crunch muffins or pumpkin muffins. I was looking at doing these carrot cake ones, which I haven't tried, so I should probably come up with one. But things like that are good. The apple ones are really good fall ones, or if you do peach or something, those are pretty yummy.
Awesome. So for those who are trying to do the chocolate muffins, or going to be doing it with their family and kids, what would you warn them about, or what would you let them know to watch out for in prep, or even in doing the chocolate muffin recipe?
Cocoa powder gets everywhere. So that's the one thing I've always had problems with is cocoa powder, huh? Yeah, it's okay. They're pretty simple and pretty basic though, so there's not too much to really worry about. But the chocolate chips in them, I wouldn't eat them right away, only because it would be probably pretty hot for little ones. Is the chocolate chips melting in there? The outside of your muffin might feel cool, but the chocolate chips themselves are probably still piping hot. So
That's a very good word.
one thing. Yeah, or even the apricots too, because they have, you know, they're gummy, but they're gonna hold the heat a little bit longer.
Sure. Ooh, so if you aren't able to finish all the muffins, how will you best store them?
You can store them if you're
outside.
not going to finish them in the next few days. I would say in the freezer.
Freezer,
so, like,
not the fridge.
Yeah, not the fridge. The fridge will make any sort of bread or muffins stale. So I would always freeze them. So like before I had each of my kids, I would bake like bran muffins or whatever, and then I'd freeze them and pull them out and throw them in our toaster oven.
Just put them in until it's softer, until the texture you like it.
Yeah. So I usually like my muffins kind of warm, so you can do it that way. Or just room temperature even. You could throw them out. You could pull them out the night before and they'd be fine. Yeah.
But with it, the frosting, it wouldn't get soggy or anything like that? Or from your experience?
For the defrosting, no. I haven't had that. As long as your freezer isn't, like our freezer has been left ajar a little bit before, and so it ruins everything in it and everything gets frozen over, so that's really fun. But otherwise, if your freezer is properly working and it doesn't get left open, it should be fine.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, Emily, you've been so brave. You've been so kind to let us into your home, and I know your husband Adam's serving us in regards to being a firefighter and doing his job. So thank you so much for that and allowing us to come into your home and just share with us your recipe on chocolate muffins.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if people are interested in finding out or reaching out to you, what's the best way to contact you?
Through either my Instagram or Facebook. I can throw this. I need to throw this up there again. I'll just do that. That's clear.
Perfect. Yeah. And then we can put some information on the chat as well.
Yeah, on Instagram, I actually just changed that to the same as the Facebook one. So my Facebook and Instagram ones are, the tags anyways, are the same.
Awesome. Well, Emily, thank you so much again. Hopefully we'll get another time to be able to bake with you or let us in. And hope you guys are staying safe and have a good Friday, good Easter weekend as well.
Thank you, you too. Happy Easter.
Happy Easter. Bye for now.
Bye.